Hello, one and all. Welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. I am so happy that you guys are here today. If you are brand new and just happen to click on this video, well done. Welcome. And if you are a new subscriber or somebody who is returning in any way, shape, or form, welcome also. All welcome, grateful for you all. And I want to say a quick shout out to everybody who just signed up for the Unicorn School of Light and for our brand new 5-day series, Intuition and the Oracle. So if you just started that course, badass. I hope you're having a great, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. So today I thought what we would do is, this is a highly requested, for some reason I felt like I should do that. Highly requested. I have often spoken with Palladian energies, and we have often channeled them here on the channel at Unicorn Light Tarot. There's a couple of others, and if they're not, sometimes they're, pile 1, 2, and 3, and sometimes they are messages for the collective. But I thought today what we would do is, what type of starseed are you? And messages from your particular star family, because as we know, Palladian is just one of the star families. Now we have six of them that we will be working with today, or six star families here that we're actually going to be in the mood for channeling. But I do want to say that there are a myriad of different ones that we won't be covering today. Some of them aren't as prevalent as the ones that we will be working with today. Some of them work just in the fourth dimension. Some of them are pretty rare, which doesn't mean that that isn't you. So I do urge you, I'll put some information down below, but I do urge you, there's a lot of information on starseeds now these days, to go ahead and check out a little bit more. If one of these six don't resonate with you, then you might be an older, from an older star system, star period, and therefore need to do a little bit of extra research. But we should have the main ones today. We have Lyra or Illyrian, Arcturian. We have Palladian, of course, Draconian, and which is an interesting one because not all starseeds have come here to do good things. Some of them can go off in weird directions, and well, not weird directions, just not as humble, not as glorious as the other starseeds, but glorious in their own way, I suppose, but not working for the light, to be more specific. I was beaten around the bush there. So that comes under the Draconian. And then we have Orion and Sirian. So those are the six that we will be working with today. I will say that many of you who have incarnated and see yourself as a starseed will have a few different starseed energies. You probably have lived many lives and in different sort of star systems. So it's not that you're just Palladian, not that you're just, from the star system of Lyra. But it's really about which resonates with you more. So I think what we're going to do, just to keep this sort of varied and give you as much information as possible, as we're going to be using the pendulum today. We're going to start off with each reading with a pendulum, and whichever energy comes up there, that's who we'll be channeling. And at the end of each of the pile, I want to go ahead and do the pendulum one more time and see if there's extra energy for you. And I have notes on each and every one of them, so we can go through some of the characteristics, so we can let you know what the characteristics are and see if that really falls within your personality type. And as always, we're always looking for Reiki, healing, any way that we can give you more information and make these general readings as specific as possible and as healing as possible. So we have our healing candle. This has this beautiful energy. We have this healing oil that I made for abundance and healing under many, many full moons. That was an eclipse, I think like 5 or 6 months ago now. So you can either literally release what no longer serves you or pull in healing and abundance any way that you want to have this session, or this session serve you. Please go ahead and do that. And these sessions are always set up for healing and activation, as well as getting you as much information as possible. So let's go ahead and move into our beautiful reading. So for pile 1, we have the green feather. For pile 2, we have the blue feather. And for pile 3, we have this really beautiful sort of day glow, really, really bright. I guess they're all bright, but this pink one is really pulling me in today for some reason. Maybe I'm supposed to be pile 3. So let's go ahead and pull these aside for now. And so if you picked pile 1 on this beautiful green feather, which we are going to put in front of your healing candle, again, please use the healing candle any way that you wish, either to release or pull in. Release what no longer serves you and pull in all of the abundance and all of the healing you can possibly imagine you can handle at this point. So for pile 1, as a reminder, what type of starseed are you, which we're about to find out. Drum roll, please. And then messages from your star family based on that. We're going to be using our pendulum today. We have these beautiful, I think they're shadowscapes. I always kind of forget shadow something. I love these sort of lyrical tarot cards. We will be using these as your foundation for the reading, and of course we have to use the starseed deck. What is it? Starseed deck. So let's go ahead and pull this. That doesn't count because we have not given it a good go yet. So pile 1, what star system are you from? Let's see where. Okay, Syrian. Okay, Syria. That is one of my favorite ones, actually. You know, I'm lying because they're all brilliant. So Syrian starseeds are drawn to lost civilizations and ancient cultures. They are sort of like what we consider the salt of the earth type. You know, as we say at home, you know, sound as a hound sort of thing. Somebody you can rely on. They're hard to anger. They love to daydream. Big daydreamers. I'm all about that. They're attracted to love, magic, witchcraft, any kind of alternative healing. They're extremely creative. Let's see. Feel like they have a huge mission on this earth. A lot of them are animal rights activists, so they feel very strongly about protecting animals. They enjoy fashion, tattoos, and any mode of expression sort of external to themselves. So anything external that they can really express themselves with, they will do that. So they'll take great pleasure in having like different colored hair or tattoos or piercings. Very confident in that way. They have a very deep connection to water. Some of them may even have a lot of water in their charts, or be either water or double water if their rising sign is water, but have a deep connection to water. So to get back into alignment, even having a shower or a bath with intention can be absolutely life-changing for Syrian starseeds here. They're a big lover of dogs or cats. And they may have a fascination with mermaids, which comes along with the water too. Some say that they may have a sort of a mermaid-esque type appearance or energy to them, but very much obsessed with mermaids. That's not for all of you, but definitely interested in the lore. You know what? We should get out the mermaid deck. I have one here. Connected to ascended masters too. And they usually are connected to one or more ascended masters, and they have an excellent sense of humor. Which goes along with not angering very often. They're very hard to anger because they're even though they love water, they're very grounded in some ways. So that's just a little of your star family there for the Syrian. So if that sounds like you, then you have picked pile 1 on purpose. And these are your foundational messages. Let's get in on this. So we have the Page of Wands here, and that is reversed. And we have Death here, which is a beautiful card. Okay. And then we have Lifting the Veil, which is reversed, and it says questioning everything Anything unaligned must go. So messages from your star system, Syrian star seeds. The first thing that I'm getting is that you're absolutely ready to step into your power. Now, I saw something today which I thought was absolutely brilliant, and it's really coming back to me for your reading. It's like stepping into your power is fine. We all know that we need to step into our power, but if we don't know where our power comes from, it's not that easy to do. For you, really recognizing where your power comes from, where it lies, where your energy comes from, who your quote unquote source is. Everybody has source. Some people see it as God, the biblical God. Some people see it as the goddess. Some people just see it as nature. Some people, actually work with the Palladium or the Star Council. We are working with Syrian energy today, so these are your messages from them. And all of it's one and the same, even though some people think that, one of them is more right over the others, but they're actually all one and the same, and they're all correct. So wherever you get it from, wherever you get who you are from, is totally beautiful. But there has to be some kind of really clear connection for you to do this. Now, what I'm picking up on, Pile 1, is the fact that you've always been open. You're always sort of researching and looking into new things. You're always trying on new energy. Now, if that new energy really doesn't fit, you're the first one to sort of chuck it out and move on to the next thing that does fit. But the other thing is that you're constantly gathering information. And what you're being asked to do is to really hone in and allow this transformation to take hold. It's not really a transformation. It's sort of a transmutation. So instead of saying, let's heal, it's acknowledging that instead of that, you're being asked to step into the fact that you're already whole and to release what no longer serves you, is no longer in alignment, and to claim who you are. Now, you can write down a list of where you get your energy, where you are getting your strength, knowing that you get it. A lot of you are very much connected to your ancestors, but it's about really, really understanding where your strength comes from, where you trust that your strength comes from. Once you acknowledge that trust is with a higher source, a particular form of higher source that you absolutely know works and is ready to get your back at any second whatsoever, then you will know who you are, and you'll be able to work with this transmutation that's trying to take you forward here. So this is the reason why they want you to do this. It sounds a little dramatic. You have the death here, but it's not really a death of sorts. It's sort of a walking into your own sense of self and your own sense of confidence. It's a sort of claiming of, I'm claiming this in this lifetime. The truth is, Syrian starseeds, is that you've had many other lifetimes. There's so many fathomable, beautiful energies that you've worked with, but there are a few that work for you in this lifetime, and you know who you are. You know who they are, that you've cultivated this. And in order to work with your magic, in order to move forward and claim your identity in this lifetime, you're being asked to physically do this. It's not that you're like easy. You are easygoing in some waters, in some ways, like the water. You become a lot more flexible, but you sort of flip and flap and you go backwards and forwards, like being inflexible, where you're like, I'm claiming this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. You've done it that way, where you've tried to control, that's not working, you already know. And then you become this really sort of flexible person where you're like, I'm beyond identity, I'm beyond any of this. And all of that is true too. But here's the thing, even in film, before you go off and do all that wacky stuff that people have done, you have to know the basics of film. So what they're asking you to do, and a lot of you are really creative, so that's the reason why I'm bringing up the film thing. So a lot of you are being asked to, and again, these are general readings, but a lot of you are being asked to step up to the plate and really claim who it is and what you are in this lifetime. And only then can you release those as labels. No one's asking you to live within those labels. So they come into this box and they secure who you are, and then you're not expansive anymore. You've gone the other way. You've gone from being inflexible to being, now I feel like I'm lost because I'm everything and I've got no name, and I'm everyone. And that's absolutely beautiful, but without being completely in the 3D, that's just confusing. So a lot of you might be feeling lost. Now, the only reason why 2 of your feet aren't in the 5D right now, I would say, that works in the 5D, I'm all connected, that's fine. All of that works. But to get to the 5D, you're 2 feet in the 5D, connected constantly and not infiltrated from the energy of the 3D. You're being asked to step up and really claim who you are. So if that's Syrian, that's Syrian. If that's gospel, that's gospel. If that's witchcraft, that's witchcraft. Wherever your magic comes from, you claim it. Now, you don't have to, you can do this in any way that you want. The way that I'm being shown as a suggestion is really simple, is to write it down in your journal. There should be around 10 things, 6 onwards, of things or understandings, or like Syrian, like witchcraft, magic, mermaids. It sounds a little bit crazy, but bear with us, that you absolutely feel like your energy comes from. Ancestors should be in there for you. If it's, get as specific as you can be. If it's ascended masters that that you work with, then which ascended masters, write them down and then claim them. And once you claim them, what happens is that whoever it is that you are in this lifetime hits this sort of paradoxical surface whereby it solidifies who you are, and then you get to transcend it. So it no longer matters. But this is what you're being asked to do. So let's get you a little bit more information here, pile 1. Again, these are messages from your SAR system. We're working with the Syrian, and now that's a Freudian slip. You might want to look into Lyrian too. Because I was sort of feeling that for you also. But the Syrian, Sirius, starseeds are who we are working with now. And of course, you like to celebrate. Part of who you are is like celebrating who you are, and there's no reason why you shouldn't. There's a flamboyant, beautiful sense to who you are. And unless you claim it, you can't project it. And for you, you've often sort of been on the sidelines. So it's important for you to step up to be that success, to be in that leadership role that you're looking for. They're asking you to step into it. To do that's to claim your real identity. Now, there's nothing for you to go back and figure out. The list is right there. When you look down, you'll know who you work with. You know where your energy comes from. They're also asking you to be a little bit more open, to work with, or for some of you, you're being so open that you're letting in all of the energy. Again, you're working with absolutely everyone. And there's nothing wrong with any of the way that you're doing this. Work with anyone that you want. No one's asking you to hone in on just 7 ideals of who you work with, and then that's it. I can't let anybody else in on my boat. That's it, or a rocket. But there are certain energies that you came in with in this lifetime, and they're there to help you, and they're there to support you. They're trying to have you be in a position where you're open enough to allow in the support. So just working with them and bridging that sort of gap between you and them brings you into 5D. And then, no one's asking you to take on the Syrian sort of landscape here and just say, this is who I am. Again, once you claim yourself in this way, you'll actually be completely and totally beyond labels. But you are completely and totally beyond labels now, but it's left you lost. So this is the way to bring yourself back and get you back to sort of your own center. And again, the initiation, rite of passage, crossing the threshold, and it's reversed again. So that's just letting you know you are at the rites of passage. You've been wondering how to get past this next thing. You don't feel as though you're always gonna be looking for new information. You're always going to be researching. You're always going to be curious and inquisitive and expanding in your own way. But you also know you've reached that plateau where there's nothing more that you need to learn to be able to gain the kind of confidence, the kind of leadership and success that you want. So for those of you who are feeling lost, and we always say, even if this is resonating with you, you might be at various different stages here. So for those of you who are genuinely feeling a loss of how to move forward or how to use your innate gifts in a specific way, or you're doubting that there's going to be a payoff at the end of the day for using your gifts in a specific way, the answer is very simple. The way in which you are using your gifts is perfect. You've got it. There's nothing more that you really need to do with that. The doubt that you have, and if you're reaching sort of quote unquote limited results, it's because you're being asked to claim who you are. Now, this is a glorious feat of beauty, of initiation, because it's just claiming who you already are. And in that, you open again, you bridge that gap between you and them, and then you become one. And then you move into this process of who you are at all times. And that is what you want. Sort of the missing piece, as it were. And it's very easy. As we said, the suggestion was just to make a list. Absolutely, to make a list and to work with, bring in the energy, channel specifically the energy of the people or the entities that you're working with on that list. And if Syrian is working for you and you feel an innate real pull in that direction, then Syrian energy for sure. For some of you, I'm feeling Palladian energy too. And Lyra came up also, Lyrian energy. Look up all of those. You can call on all of them. You can call on the Star Council if you want, see who comes up. Galactic energy is definitely around you, but ancestor energy is very, very firm with you also. Some of you have witchcraft and Celtic energies, so working with the horned god. And also working with goddess energies, Celtic goddess energies, Welsh goddess energies, Hecate could be there for you. Hecate. I like Hecate. Other people say Hecate. Regardless, that sort of the dark goddess energy too, because a lot of you have work to transmute darkness. You know how to do it. You'll be helping others to do this in this lifetime. You'll also be helping others to slow down, stay in the moment, find out who they are. To be able to do this is how you will help others find their own identity and then be able again to transmute it. So this is what we have for you here too. Passion. The frequency of passion reminds us that beneath every intense emotion lies the hidden gem of insight, balance, and calm. It assists us in finding the balance within this intensity, moving us from the chaos to the calm of its core, where we can let its long-lasting wisdom fill us up. Now you have no problem with passion there, Part 1. You have no problem with passion. If anything, the fire energy can come in and feel as though it's burning you out. To keep in the passion, to keep the calmness, to keep whatever it is on the table that you want, instead of having these ups and downs and these emotional upheavals, feeling as though you're on top of the world in this high frequency, knowing where you're going, and then having this insane sort of amount of loss and feeling lost, and then nothing's good enough, and this intense amount of doubt is just coming from the seesaw motion of having your energy sort of flexed everywhere, bringing your energy back into center, grounding, using your passion to really claim who you're passionate, what entities you're passionate working with in this lifetime, claiming them, and then bringing them into your space creates this oneness where you can move on with confidence, and then again transmute anyone or anything, and then just sort of move into who you are. Let's get you some star seeds. Some star seeds energy here, and see if there's anything else too. And I'm definitely being called. I'm going to be doing this for all piles. So for you, it's actually a really simple reading. There's just one thing that they want you to do. And they're telling you that the timing is right. For those of you who are feeling as though that, you're running out of time, I won't have enough time for doing this. I was supposed to, X, Y, and Z by this age, or do this, or, or just feeling as though there's just not enough time for everything. That's just the overwhelming burnout of the passion coming in and sort of burning you out. Again, it's sort of this layered friction that you have within. By claiming each aspect of self and full acceptance, then you really allow in the help that you need. You've gone as far as you can on your own. It's time to let in some help and to claim that initiation, claim who you are. And that really just solidifies everything. And everything that you've been doing up until now will lead you everywhere you've needed to go. You've not gone off the rails. Everything that you've done, all the energy that you've put into everything that you've done in the last couple of years specifically is setting you in motion for something greater. Absolutely. So you don't have to worry or doubt about it. But if you're worried or doubting that it's not going to have the sort of effect that you're wanting on the world, this is sort of the missing barrier. There's a little bit of a barrier there. Once you do this, you'll move beyond it, and then the world is yours. However it is that you want it. Magnificence. You are amazing, magnificent, and unique. But most importantly, you are enough. Absolutely. For those of you who have felt lost or had any doubt, not necessarily if you've had a little bit of doubt about how brilliant you are, or that your work isn't needed in this lifetime, or that it's outmoded in some way. It's actually the opposite. Who you are and your work actually is solidified in the sort of 3D motion. So you're seeing it from the 3D, but it's going to help. You're seeing it from the sort of 5D version of it, where, oh, this isn't relevant anymore. What I do maybe isn't as relevant as I thought it was going to be. And actually that's not true. It's needed more than now. It's needed more than ever. Whatever it is that you're doing is needed more than ever. Your unique view is needed more than ever. You're absolutely enough. Your work is enough. It's absolutely relevant. That is the word for you. You're absolutely relevant. Everything that you're doing right now is absolutely relevant. If you don't see it fitting into the world properly, that's because you're projecting that energy upon your work, because you're not fitting into the world properly yet. To interject yourself into the world, there is a reclaiming that needs to go on. And it's just a claiming, and it is a reclaiming, and it's of its highest manner, because you're reclaiming the energy that you already have in and around you. And by really reclaiming it and saying, this is who I am, you're allowing this energy again to help you and move these boulders out of the way. And then life will become a lot clearer. The manifestations will be expansive, and you'll see yourself on that path that you were always supposed to be on. You're actually already on that path. You're just blocking it a little bit. But that's easily done. And again, we want to reiterate, there's nothing more that you need to do or learn. This is a very simple process. It can be done in 30 minutes. That's it. And then you're exactly where you need to be. This one's calling to me. Light. It's time to reveal your radiant light to the world. Absolutely. Now, you've been doing this in many ways, but to do it to the degree that the world needs you at, there's just this initiation process that you're being asked to do. And it makes it clear for you who you work with. It makes it clear for you, because you've not always had boundaries. Now you get to have the boundaries. This is who I'm working with. These are my guides. Now your guides will shift and change as you move forward, and they expect that. But this is who you're working with now. And some of the guides that you work with, you've always worked with, and they'll always be there. Now, a lot of you have been feeling a lot of expansiveness about who you are, specifically about your powers coming to fruition. And for those of you who are a little bit frightened about those powers coming in, because they are very powerful, you might be able to really sort of slip into other consciousnesses pretty quickly, or your meditations are a lot deeper. You're going into other realms, and you're able to work with spirit guides at ease in a way that you weren't supposed to before. And this just makes you not afraid, a little bit nervous, trust that you are absolutely exactly where you need to be in order to be expansive and let these beautiful gifts come into fruition. You always had this power. You were always able to do everything that you now realize you can do. This initiation and really claiming who you are will ground your energy into a grounding mode where you're not as fearful, and then you can really, really claim all of your powers in every way. And this is going to be an incredible feat for you, because you are going to be everything that you've been doing and everything that you are doing right now. There's a great foundational energy, but you will actually be doing a lot more in this lifetime, and you can't really perceive it yet. So take that step forward and go ahead and move into this declaration of who you are. So let's go ahead, and I want to do this one more time. So, Draconian, so that's the reason why I wanted to do this for you. As we said at the beginning, at the beginning when we were doing the intro. Now, Draconian's really interesting. A lot of them have obsession, well, not obsession, but they love dragons and reptiles, and they work with dragon energy. A lot of them come in with a lot of passion and fire, could be fire signs too. So I'm not surprised that you have Draconian energy there. And also, not all starseeds that are Draconian come in. Some of them do go off in their own way and go into a little bit of manipulation and destruction and all of that other, other stuff. We need light and dark in this lifetime for a balance. That's the way it works. Now, that's not you, but there might be a little aspect of you that's a little bit nervous about the kind of power that you have, because you might doubt that you will use it for not so great purposes. Now, deep down, you know that that's absolute crap. You know that that's not going to happen. But you've had other powerful lifetimes where you may have been corrupted, and maybe you did do that in other lifetimes. So there might be a little bit of a hesitancy there, because you sense this power within you. We want to remind you that everybody has had past lives where they weren't so good, and past lives where they were amazing, because we're here to evolve, and we're not here to be Jesus in every lifetime. So remember that your power comes from absolutely knowing that you get to make a choice in this lifetime. Your power doesn't come from darkness. The starseed Draconian power is actually from the light. However, they've decided to use it, not necessarily in the light, but you're going to use it in this lifetime in the light. So that could shed some light a little bit about why you might be a little bit afraid to the extent of your power, because your powers are really coming into fruition here. But that's another reason for you to use your passion, use that fire energy, ground into who you are, and really claim who you are, because that will set a really strong, firm foundation for you. And from that, you won't be able to, you won't be doing the wobble-dee-bobble-dee, which is not a saying at all. But there it is. You will not be able to become unhinged or doubt yourself as much, because you will be firmly in your own energy. It's like I've just been shown, when somebody's standing up straight, and somebody comes and pushes them over. That's how you are right now. You can go either way and you can be pushed over. But if you go into that claiming process of who you are and who you're working with, and claim everything that you are, and it's very, very powerful, then when somebody tries to push you along or energy comes in, they won't be able to move you. You will be immovable. But again, you'll be moving on to the next stage, which also means that you'll be transcending all of that. So you'll be open and expansive. So I'm going to use the Dragon Oracle deck for the Draconian here, for the Draconian energy, to end this pile one. So we have Alpha Dragon, yes, harness the divine masculine power of creation, destroy the old, visualize the dream, help manifest a new world. Absolutely. So this is a very powerful card here for you. And you are a leader. You're about to step into the leadership role. If you're not quite the way that you want to be perceived in the world, that's again right at your fingertips once you do this, and harnessing your power and your energy. And part of that is learning to work with the divine masculine and that power, letting in that divine masculine power and letting it work with you. You know how to work with the divine feminine. And there is, you can use that dragon energy. You can absolutely use that passion, use that fire to go ahead and destroy the old. You don't need it anymore. Remember, focus on the new world that you're working with, this beautiful manifestation of who you are and how your powers and your innate abilities will help to bring that about. So exciting stuff for you, Pile 1. I sincerely hope that resonated with you. And if it did, feel free to give me a thumbs up. Do let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. Always, always, always. And of course, feel free to subscribe. We would love to have you, and press that bell icon always, so you can be notified anytime a wonderful Unicorn Light Tarot video comes up. And of course, there are other ways to be supported too. Please feel free to go right into the Unicorn School of Light. We have several beautiful courses for you. One of them is a free course. We keep the courses very, very cheap, because we understand that not everybody has a lot of money right now, or any money for that matter. So we keep the support very, very cheap for you and obtainable. That's why we do it. There's many beautiful other courses to be supported. We have new people working and signing up every day. So we'd love you to be part of that too. All the links are down below. Well done, Pile 1. You've got this in the bag. Just a simple little, not ceremony, initiation into who you really are. And the world is your oyster. Until we meet again, Pile 1, you stay safe and sane. Bye-bye. Okay, Pile 2, this is your reading. If you picked this beautiful blue feather, this is yours. Do not forget that we have extra energy going on with the healing candle. We have the... Shadowscape, I believe, this beautiful tarot deck, and of course the Starseed Oracle deck for our foundational reading. And then we are going to check in with what type of starseed you are. Our beautiful Pendulum will be able to help us with that, and then we will get you messages from your star family. And as stated at the beginning in the intro, many of us are old souls, so you've been many different star seeds across your lifetimes. It's just a matter of which ones are resonating with you in this lifetime more than others. So at the end of the reading, or towards the end of the reading, we're going to do the pendulum again and see what comes up for you, and see which one resonates with you, and just get you a little extra information. So let's get right in there, Pile 2, and see what type of star seed you are. And we are going to Orion. Okay, so the Orion star seed, now they're very practical, they're science minded, not so emotional necessarily. They're here to learn emotionality. That's part of why they incarnated as this type of star seed. They do have interest in ancient cultures and history and anything intelligent. They're also very, very intelligent themselves. They're often earth signs. They have those traits. So they can be Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, sort of very grounded. Their knowledge is their passion. Now, obviously, all different there's so many different starseeds, especially in this lifetime, because they've come down in this lifetime more than others to help with the ascension process. Excuse me, but it is said that those Orion starseeds have blue eyes that draw you in. Now, if you don't have blue eyes, it doesn't necessarily mean, of course, that you are not from this star system. Originally, they said that it was Nordic, very, very pale skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes for Palladian. And not all Palladians or Palladian starseeds obviously look like that, or have Nordic traditions or Nordic DNA. But it is said that if you do have blue eyes, that could be another indicator of being from the Orion star system. So this is your messages from the Orion star system. So we have the Seven of Swords is your first card, and then we have Justice. And then we have Called, Soul Gifts and Training. It's time to step up. So we've given you an explanation at the beginning here, just a second ago, and hopefully that somewhat resonates with you. So we're really talking about the practical, the science-minded, the real practical element of who you are. Now, that's exactly who you are in this lifetime, and you've done very well with that. You're being called, the messages that I'm getting for you is that to be out on the forefront These star seeds have a lot of power. They have a lot of personal magnetism, a lot of personal power. They're very knowledgeable and they rely very much on knowledge and data. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, even in the metaphysical world. I feel like I'm like that too. There's nothing woo woo about them. And some of the metaphysical stuff can go off in sort of woo woo land. At least it does for me, I feel like. But there's nothing woo-woo about you, but you can still have like a vast interest in the knowledge. So the way in which you would be attracted to the more metaphysical conversations and knowledge is that you back it up with sort of science, particularly physics and quantum physics. That sort of thing would really interest you. You have a very practical mindset. Your mind sort of loops over and over and over also too. So you can get yourself, when you get yourself into a very specific mindset, you tend to stay there. Now there's a lack of emotionality, as we've already said in the introduction here. And what you're being asked to do to step up further is to allow in that emotionality and really let it fuse in there, really let it mix in there. Sort of like a washing machine, which could be a little unsettling for somebody from the Orion star system initially. And it's not that you don't appreciate another's point of view. In some ways, you're very open to that, as long as it expressed some kind of, you know, it's somewhat valid, and you respect the person that it's coming from. They have a sort of an authority, not a physical authority in the world, but the way in which they speak. They have an expansive mind thought, and they're articulate. You're definitely up for listening to other people. You're not set in your ways that way. In many ways, you're in for taking in more data and more information, and you're willing to sort of try anything on. You don't listen to everybody's opinion, though, and I think that's wonderful. And there's a lot of situations where you'll be like, not for me, and then you move on. But you're being asked to use that discerning preface of who you are, and it's really beautiful to allow in the emotionality. What I'm hearing is that you are here to learn emotionality. You are here to blend with it and take that scientific mind and really amp it up even further. Now, the way in which you use science, and you would use the emotionality blended with science, would be truly amazing in this lifetime. And, you know, from what I can see, that point of view and that melding of the emotionality with the scientific background is exactly what is needed. And it is the future, the new world that we are moving into. You know, the metaphysics and what it is that we're working on is a great foundation, but we're actually working toward a new world where there'll be many different discoveries in medicine and all sorts of different things in that caliber. And it's really about you being on the forefront of all of this. You're, excuse me, and a frog in my throat there. So we'll let it come out. So, you know, the way in which you approach things, the way in which you work with your naturally scientific mind is exactly what we need right now and in the future. But you're being asked to really deliberate on how to bring in this emotionality, because you've hit a little bit of a wall here, pile two. Now, you've always been an observer, and in many ways, that's how you learn. You observe. It's almost like you have the world set up like a science experiment. You set something up, you see if it works. If it doesn't, you'll try something else. You'll come back with this, you'll counteract, you'll do this. And there's literally nothing wrong with that. And you work with chaos very well, insofar as like if things all fall apart, you're willing to come away from it and say, okay, that didn't work. Let's apply what I thought would work to this and move on. Almost like you work as, you know, the world being an equation. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Your calling is to step up in the way that you're supposed to, and you're supposed to really bring in the legacy of emotionality, but you're supposed to do it on your own terms. Now, there are many of you, and again, these are general readings, so we see how these go, but there are many of you that are being called to be leaders in your field. And that is something that you love the idea of, but at its core, it could be quite terrifying in some ways because you are the observer. And the other thing about you that really wasn't mentioned at the beginning is that you're not really keen on authority. It's not that you're jacked up about it and it's like, I hate everybody. It's not coming from a place of ego. It's I don't want to work for you. It's not that. It's just that you're intelligent enough not to be governed, and you've never really understood why anybody does need to be governed. And you have this practical nature that's able to really work with everything, bring everything up from the ground up. You don't need anybody else to tell you anything. And if you do, you know how to do it. You'll go back, you'll go to school, you'll research, you'll figure it out for yourself. Or you'll take a course, you'll do something instead of going back to school and doing 4 years, or if it's a master's, 2 years, you'll do a course in something specific, gain the knowledge and pull yourself out. These are general readings. Not all of you actually work very well in the school system. Some of you are self-taught just because of that being in authority. What are you learning? Who's teaching you? You have to have profound respect for people who are teaching you, and sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. So it's a matter of like, you can be self-governed. So there's no need for anybody to govern you. So that's given you the beauty of being on the outside, being the observer, and that's really worked for you. But now you're being called to step up. You're being called to step up. And in that comes with a little bit more responsibility. And that's the other thing that happens too. You can easily walk away from things and claim that you don't have responsibility. And this is just a little bit of real talk, pile two. And again, there's no judgment. I totally understand. Everybody understands why you would walk away from something that isn't working. But, with karma, we're not going to go into karma right now because it's actually far more complicated than people even realize. But, it's, obviously whatever happens, you send out ripples into the stratosphere, as it were. But beyond that, and more simplistically, is that you choose not to take on the energy of anything that isn't working. And that's worked for you before as somebody who likes to be on the observation side, and for somebody who isn't really engaged in the emotionality. And you may have been around people who were quite emotional at times and saw that it brought a little bit of pain. And there's no reason why you wouldn't want to step away from that and say, I want to avoid that. That doesn't work. That's fine. So taking on the responsibility you didn't need to do. If something didn't work, you just cut it out and you're done, right? Now, there's something a little bit cold about that, but it's worked for you and that's okay. You're being asked, pile two, if that's really worked for you, or if taking on some of that responsibility previously could have bought you some rewards insofar as you could have figured out, some kind of emotionality, how that works. If I take this on, yes, it doesn't work. It's almost like you don't want to invest in anything that probably won't work because you don't want to waste your time. Now, in theory, in the practical mind, that absolutely makes sense, and on paper, that totally makes sense to me too. But at the same time, the world, you're here to be messy, you're here to mess up, you're here to fuck up, you're here to make mistakes and learn from them. That's part of emotionality because it gets messy. You're being asked to step up and really have that responsibility of the emotionality, learn how to deal with it, stop walking away from it, stop cutting things out that are emotional, really deal with things as they come up. It's going to feel a little foreign to you as it first comes in, the emotionality. How you integrate the emotionality throughout your life and throughout your work as you step up is completely up to you. And it will be very different than the examples that you've had before, which could have been very messy for you. And you didn't want to be messy at that time. And there's nothing wrong with that. It feels like, when you're sitting there, it's, well, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to put myself in that position and then spend 6 months crying over that person because this, that, and the other? Well, the truth is nobody wants to go through that, but without that, you don't have the healing side of it. And then you don't have the beauty of actually living each and every moment in your own soul, in your own lifetime. It's almost like you've avoided the heaviness But then at the same time, you're not really allowing in the beauty either. Some of the beauty comes from heartache. You only really find out who you are through heartache. And by completely avoiding it, you're not truly stepping up to who you are. And also, there's a little bit of your heart that still remains a little bit cold, needs to be warmed up. Now, some people around you may have accused you of this, and some people will come to you because you have this beauty to your personality that can cut through everything and tell you how things should be. Now, you're not going to change your personality in any drastic way. So there's no reason to be nervous. If anything, you're just going to enhance who you are, and everything that you will do and how you will approach your life with this emotionality, of course, will be on your own terms. So, using other people as an example of how not to do things really doesn't, it's almost like you're living through other people's experiences of what you will and won't take on. There's no point in doing that. It's about stepping up and you stepping up to the plate and you learning from your own experiences. No, not being an observer anymore. Mirror who or what is triggering you, and that's it. If you're noticing that you're a little frustrated, you're being triggered a lot, it's because there's some unresolved issues surrounding your emotionality. You're allowed to be, you can get triggered by, a lot of people are getting triggered right now. There's a lot of stuff that's going on our planet Earth. I'm sure everybody has noticed that. So that's really pretty much just saying the obvious. But at this point, it's not that everything that you've done thus far has not served you. It's served you in a beautiful way. But the fact that you're feeling a little frustrated, you're getting triggered, or you're getting angry, you're blaming, or you're going into this polarity of, right or wrong, or this, and that's totally fine considering what's going on, because everybody's trying to find out something. Everybody's trying to fight something. Everybody's trying to find justice. There's not a lot of peace right now. And this is a little bit of a time of chaos preceding what will come in, which will be justice. But if you're feeling, and we do say that even if you are resonating with these readings and you're resonating with pile 2, you might be at different stages. If you're at the stage of being frustrated, if you're at the stage being triggered and seeing the mirrors everywhere and still not being able to do anything about it, and like raising your blood pressure when you really don't need to, and for you, it's not, you can lose your temper. You really have to be driven to the end of the road. But when you do, you lose it. You absolutely do. But this is happening more and more now. The triggering is coming in more and more. And if that's happening, it's because you're being asked to step up to the plate of emotionality. And once you integrate that emotionality and really deal with what it is that's actually triggering you, it's not that person, it's not that statement, it's something else. And admitting that something really hurts. If it hurts out there that somebody is acting like this and you don't get it, you get to say, I'm upset by that. You get to say that I'm hurt by that. You get to say that there might be a part of me that is empathic and this does bother me. And that's 99% of where you are. Now, how you deal with that and you integrate that is up to you. But you do have a level of emotionality that you are here to absolutely deal with. And when it is integrated, it will heighten the scientific and practical mind and send you to new heights. And you'll be able to help people in ways that you won't be able to help people, because the melding of the two will really appeal to large scale, the sort of the masses, as it were, because that's where we're coming from. But we're moving to that ideology, that real kind of scientific mind, but bringing in the essence of what we considered esoteric. But now we are on definitely the borderline and moving into being able to prove it with quantum physics. It's been proved. DNA, you can change your DNA by your thought processes. Now you have to, there's ways to do it. You've got to have a strong mind. You can train your mind to do it, but you can train your DNA to shift and transform your DNA from your mind and from your mind processes. This has been proved. There has been studies on it. This is the front of the forefront of where you will be. And to get you there, ironically, it's the emotionality that's going to bring you into that. The human aspect of who you are. It's almost like you came in from the star systems, which don't have emotionality, and you stayed within that sort of formatting. You're asked to become dare I say it, dare we say, a little bit more human, really relish in the understanding that we're here to be human, we're here to be messy. Keepers of the earth, you are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. You have ancient knowledge. That's why you're here to really bring it to the forefront of where we are. There's no coincidence that you were born in this time frame. This is absolutely up to you to step up and do what you need to do. And, this is also for those of you who are feeling, I'm also going to be using the activations oracle here for you. We're going to really use this session here as a little bit of an activation for you to activate that emotionality at a comfortable rate for you if you're open to it. And really move you through onto the next level of, and I don't want to say healing because it's not healing, it's wholeness. It's coming back to recognizing the wholeness of you and moving from that understanding of wholeness. If we say that we need to be healed, then what we're saying to our body is that there's something's off, there's something wrong, there's something that's not complete. You are complete. You're just wanting to express aspects of self that you haven't got to really work with yet. And those aspects of self can bring you up to next level, sort of in the thought processes and in the heart chakra too. Again, really open up that heart chakra that you've protected a lot of your life and get you into that, dare we say it again, beyond the sort of practicality that you have. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. But really the sort of like this kind of gooey center. All right, for those of you who are sitting there cringing, that's okay. But that gooey center that you have, that childlike, beautiful, that aspect of self that can be absolutely, without a doubt, secured upon and activated with the inner child. So you can work with your inner child to bring in that emotionality and work with it. Remembrance, the frequency of remembrance supports our memory of everything that we have gone through as a soul and body, providing us with valuable information and tools to flow gracefully with and in this lifetime. Absolutely. We just said that. A remembrance of the wholeness of who you are. Your emotionality is actually a trait that can push you forward and really bring you to new heights in your personal life as well as your academic life. So it's about remembering all of this. It may not feel completely comfortable for some of you, and these are general readings, for some of you, you may have been quite emotional or had that sort of sense of emotionality a little bit earlier on, but something happened and you shut it down. If that happened, or you've just not been quite in touch with the emotionality, that's where you're at. Going back to the emotionality, coming back to a sense of self. It's really going to do you a lot of good. Again, activate that inner child to bring it back to next level thinking. And, that silliness, that beauty, that sort of elemental energy of you that would, usually have been like, bringing in that aspect of self can lighten you up in a way that will attract the kind of abundance and put you in this leadership position that you are owed and you would do very well with. And when you're in that leadership position, you will feel as though you're doing something completely, totally in the forefront, and really helping people on the level that you want to help. And then you wouldn't be so triggered because you would feel connected in the world and on your life path to be here and move us forward in some way. So let's go ahead and when it goes round like that, I like it when it goes round. Yes. So let's see if there's a secondary one here that we can give you some extra information with. Okay, so it's gone right back to the Orion too. So it's really coming back to the understanding again of working with your emotionality, and again to see this as a good thing, as a real opportunity, an absolute true gift, to work with the divine feminine, and to for those of you who have worked with the divine feminine, it's a new way of honoring, it's a new way of interaction. And for those of you too, you really love that, not just the science minded, but the ancient history, and a lot of you are connected with Celtic history, you can really put in your understanding of that divine feminine and bring out some, bring out. See, I got really excited about that. Bring out this other aspect of your personality where that practical mindset and that science mindset goes in with the ancient cultures, and it's almost like you can update it. Use that alchemical sense that you have to transform and present this information to this new world that we're already working within, even though it seems like chaos now, and be in the forefront of who you are, bringing out sort of the old, ancient, all this. Not just quantum physics, but geometry and all of that. You would be hard pressed finding a way not to be impressed by that and bringing it out in a brand new way that sort of helps people understand it, which is a little less esoteric in some ways, still bringing the elements of it, but in a really scientific way that makes sense to absolutely everybody. So yeah, we have this star seeds here. So I hope this makes sense. Observation, expand your consciousness by observing the divine matrix of life. Absolutely. Now this is something that you have been doing. You are observers, but you can observe the past. Again, the ancient civilizations, all of that. I mean, they knew so much, and bring it into the present moment. What's your spin on it? How can you go into the information and deliver it differently? What's your take on it? And again, delivering you to that mindset is bringing in the emotionality and to lighten up. And for those of you who have loves that are coming in, I'm not big on the twin flame thing. I think a lot of people get really caught up in that, and I don't see the point because twin flames are actually quite rare. But there is a soulmate connection for you. It's a very intense soulmate connection. So this lightening up, this emotionality, getting in touch with your heart, for some of you who have built up those walls, will really, really make a difference in bringing in the essence of this beautiful energy that's coming in for you. You are not supposed to spend your lifetime here alone. You're supposed to be with somebody. Definitely. So intuition, trust your intuition. It's been guiding you to the answers that you seek. So yeah, part of that emotionality is trusting your intuition. Now, most of you do, but also you can override it with the practicality. So the difference between control and alignment, again, for you can get mixed up. Those lines, those roads can get a little bit cloudy for you. But when you're in alignment, you really move forward in the way that you want to. And that's just, everything that you've gone through right now with the practical mindset has brought you to this height now. There's nothing more to learn on that. It's to bring in and integrate the divine feminine, the intuition, the emotionality, the inner child, open up that heart chakra, and within that, new information, how to present new information from the old alchemists will come out, and that's how you will use everything that you've learned with how you observe. And again, don't go back into the old and use all of these old. That's another thing that you do. Sometimes you use that as an excuse. Well, it happened. I don't want to try that because the last time it happened, that happened, or the last time I tried that, this happened with this. Let the past be the past. The last time I opened up, this happened to me. Everything that's past is past. You've had a heavy go of it. You've definitely had a lot of drama or emotionality around you, but not control. It's not that you can control emotionality, but people who didn't know how to control or work with their own emotionality. So of course you were like, trying to protect yourself from it. But don't judge anything from any of those circumstances. They're all gone. You've learned all of everything that you need to learn from that. It's about opening up and seeing where everything goes from now on in. So emotionality, get into your headspace with that divine feminine, bring in that Celtic stuff and all of that beautiful. Some of that, for some of you, again, this is general readings, but Merlin is coming forward, all of that stuff that you can use. And it's not woo-woo if you bring it out and you use it as the Knights of the Templar, for instance. There's a lot of alchemy, there's a lot of stuff that you can bring in there with the practical mindset and with that beautiful mindset that you have with science, and push it forward in a way that will make sense to a lot of other people, and we're waiting for that viewpoint. So that's what I have for you, pile 2. I hope this resonated with you. And if it did, feel free to give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you. And of course, subscribe and hit that bell button because we want you here as part of the Unicorn Light Tarot beautiful group that we are. So if you haven't subscribed, come and join us, and that way you'll have these beautiful memories, these beautiful sessions and activations every week. And do not forget, below we have the link for the Unicorn School of Light, where we have a few different courses. One of them is for free to support and help you. The prices are extremely low. I know people are struggling with money right now, so everything is understood. We're keeping them very, very low, from $22 to $33. We even have an intuition course, which might be very good for some of you. So again, always listen to your intuition, and if it feels as though it's taking you in that direction, we would love to have you at the Unicorn School of Light. My darling pile 2s, until we meet again, you stay safe and sane. Okay, pile 3, if this is you, you chose the beautiful pink feather, then we will be finding out what type of star seed you are from our gorgeous pendulum there. And as we said at the beginning, if you are here incarnated as a starseed, chances are that you are an old soul. So you probably incarnated many times as several different starseeds. So we will start with one starseed, and toward the end of the reading, we'll bring in another one. For, I think it was pile 2, it came up exactly the same. But it gives you a little bit of a different layer, and we can go through all the traits of both of them, beginning and the ending of your reading, and see if they both resonate, just to give you a little bit of extra layer and texturing to your personality. And of course, don't forget, we have our beautiful healing candle here, which can be used in any way to bring in abundance and healing, or to release anything that is holding you back. So again, we are doing one, what type of star seed are you, and the messages from your star family. We have, I believe it's the Shadowscapes, I think, this beautiful tarot. And then of course we have our Starseed Oracle here. This will prove to be your foundation, and then we'll bring in other interesting tarot cards, well, oracle cards, to give you more information as we move forward. But let's get in and find out what type of star seed you are. Round and round they go. All right, that's interesting. Draconians. So the Draconian star seeds are interesting. They're definitely linked to dragon energy and the reptilian race. Now, it is said that not all star seeds are here to do wonderful things, but they're all very powerful. And it's said, particularly within the draconian sort of species of star seeds, that some of them sort of go off, and if they're not in alignment, they can become sort of, how do we say? I don't want to say evil, but they can definitely be manipulative, and they can get sort of greedy and money hungry. But on the other spectrum of things, they're also a lot of passion, fire energy, usually come in as fire signs or have a lot of fire in their charts. And of course, love dragons. They are here for leaders in their field. They don't do very well with authority at all. They want to be the authority. You can imagine the sort of dragon energy. They were rulers of the land. And yeah, so they always finish what they start, which is one thing. It's definitely a good thing if you're draconian that's gone off into, non-alignment, that can be treacherous, but they do finish what they start. They're very powerful. And it's said that they prefer warmer climates, and obviously they love dragons and reptiles, and some say that they even take on their physical features. So they're often politicians, community leaders, or even in the military, but they have a chameleon-like type of personality. So at best, they're able to fit in. At worst, they're able to sort of like, again, that sort of manipulation, kind of can't trace it back to them sort of thing. So, if you're on this channel, one would presume that you are a star seed that is for the light. And either way, we're really not here to judge. We'll just see what comes up. Either way, the Draconians, it's actually a very fascinating star seed, and they have a lot of power, and they really do sort of equate power, and they really are powerful in their lifetime and do become leaders. So, King of Wands, we have here, is your first card. And then we have the Seven of Pentacles, which is reversed. And then it's Messenger, Sirius energy, bringing harmony and balance. So the one thing that I can see here for you is that there is a huge amount of power here, Pile 3, and it's about how you wield that power, what you want from that power. There's really a sense of understanding that you're very powerful. Some of you, these are general readings, so take what resonates. Some of you might even be a little bit afraid of your power. Now, most of that would be because of the way you've been treated. A lot of people have sensed power in you, and because of the enormity of your power, people have not always treated you correctly. They might have sort of given you a wide berth, or even accused you of being sort of darker when you weren't even, acting in any way that would provide them with any kind of proof of that. But they could have sensed something darker in you. Now, we all have darkness, but I feel as though not everybody is sort of treated accordingly for the darkness that they have within, but you have. With not a lot of proof. So it's not like any of these people were sort of, you took any of these people seriously necessarily, but they, the conscious mind does say, a few people have, treated me like this. Maybe there's something subconsciously I need to think about. So it could be more of a subconscious thing where you're a little bit worried, or there's a little bit of nervousness. I don't want to say fear, a little bit of apprehension about the type of power that you have. And how you will wield it. Now, this came up, I think, in pile 2, but I'm not completely sure. But this is just in general. Just to mention, it's obvious, but we always forget, I feel. We've all had past lives, and in these past lives, people claim that they were this, that, and the other. And I'm not saying that they were right or wrong, but you can't be, and I've said this, I think, in pile 2, you can't always be Jesus in every single one of your lives, or the epitome of. You've done bad things in a past life. Your ancestry, your family have done bad things in a past life. It's a given. You're here to have many different lifetimes so that you can learn from your mistakes. And I would trust somebody implicitly more in this lifetime about handling their power if they had previously been evil in a past life. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. So if you are a little bit nervous, or there's been any kind of apprehension about any kind of power that you have and how you wield it, it's not from anything that's really true. You may be picking up from the fact that people have projected upon you in a past life and said you were evil, or maybe you really did wield your power in a way that was a little unethical. But again, that's how we learn in this lifetime. It does not mean that you are here to do this in this lifetime. In actual fact, you are here to shine the light and really show people how to wield through the darkness. There's a lot of those of you who are chaos magicians out there know how to wield magic from chaos. You are the original alchemist. How to wield darkness, light from the darkness. Now, there's a part of you that's not afraid of really facing that kind of fear, facing that kind of evil. And that part of you actually frightens you, because you wonder, if I don't have that real fear about really going that dark, maybe it's because I am that. And a part of you might be, but again, it doesn't matter. And the way that people have treated you throughout your life should not have any bearing whatsoever on who you actually were. Because, real talk, pile 3, you've not always attracted the right kind of people in your life. You've not really attracted people that have seen you for who they were. You've attracted darkness. You've attracted people who were not had a lot of problems, but were not dealing with them. You've attracted a lot of people with addictions. And again, there's no judgment here. but sometimes when you're caught up in the addiction, you can get caught up in a different kind of mind frame where you're not seeing complete reality because the drugs are taking over. There's a lot of different reasons why you've had the kind of people that you've had around you, and that's totally fine. You've seen the beauty in everybody. You tried to save people. You knew you couldn't do it, and you didn't have the boundaries that you really should have had to secure sort of your well-being. But going back and judging any aspect of your personality based on what other people in your past have said will not do you any good whatsoever. This is the beginning of your sort of new beginning in a way. It's not really a new beginning. It's just a way, and there's a theme throughout. We're on pile 3 now. Pile 1 and 2 have this theme where it's not a beginning. It's just this understanding of being wholeness and recognizing the wholeness within you and appreciating all aspects of self and bringing it back together. Yours will be really bringing in your power and not being afraid of it, and really being able to access this power. Now, I don't want to freak you out in any way, shape, or form, but some of you are actually able to go in and work with darker energies and neutralize them. So of course you will have to know what they feel like. And of course you will have to be able to sort of have a sense of how they work, right? Now, that's not for everybody. And if you're sitting there going, I don't think so, that's not me, that's fine. And maybe you're not ready to come into this energy yet. And maybe that's not what you will be doing. But for some of you, you certainly are in a position, should you want to go down that road, you have enough power to be able to neutralize, definitely in people, but certainly like even in spaces, go into spaces that have had negative energy. You'll be able to say what kind of energy it is, and you'll be able to like have it pass on. There's a strength in you that recognizes, the darkness in others and other entities, and you're not afraid of it, and you also don't succumb to it. So you are the neutralizing presence when you walk into, for want of a better term, a haunted house, but you'll be able to do that for people's lives. You'll be able to do that for people's pasts. You'll be able to bring in that sense without judgment, without fear. So fear usually comes from some kind of judgment. It's something outside of ourselves. I don't understand it, so I'm going to fear it. You do understand it. It's lived within you. I'm not saying you're evil, but we all have darkness. You've gone in, you've done that work, you have it. But if there's still an inkling of you that's afraid of where your power comes from or how you will wield it, especially, and I think this came up again in pile 2, your powers are really coming into fruition now, and they're coming into next level stuff in a similar way to pile 2, although completely different energies. You're able to sort of go into different realms, maybe even different timelines. When you meditate, you can actually hear or get a real impression of what your guides are saying, and you're able to back it up. Like if they give you like a sentence, you'll be able to type it into the internet and it's exactly what they said it was going to be. You've got this really clear essence of who you are and how your power works now. It's definitely next level. Now, you're not necessarily surprised at this power, but it might be a little bit intimidating to you. So take what you want from this reading. It's not supposed to freak you out in any way, shape, or form. But should you decide that you want to go in that direction, it's definitely there for you. You are here to bring harmony and balance. And you are a messenger, not from the dark side, the Dark Lord or anything dramatic like that. But you are a messenger to bring balance and to sort of represent darkness in a way, to really stand by it and show people that it's not evil and that we all have to deal with it to neutralize it, and that we all stand to gain so much more from really understanding the darker nature. If most of us, instead of projecting out, actually dealt with our own crap, then we wouldn't be in the darkness that we are, in the chaos that we are right now. But we've all had to learn throughout humanity, and hopefully we're learning and coming through the chaos, and we'll be able to do things differently. But you'll be able to really go in deep and teach people step by step You know, this is how you do it. And this is beyond shadow work. This is not something that's been done before. This, you'll be bringing in your own version of it. You'll be talking about it. For some of you, you'll be talking about it at workshops. You'll be in a group. You'll be talking about it. You'll be known for bringing this kind of this beauty to the world. And again, you are chaos magicians. So, you know, but I want to be really clear here, though, pile 3. For some of you, you do thrive in chaos. Now, you used to have a lot of drama around you. Now, a lot of you could have grown up in dramatic situations, so you didn't see that. You saw it as a norm when there's a lot of drama around you. But you got to a point where you realized you didn't want the drama around you. You cut it out, right? But it's not that you're addicted to drama, but it's more like you try to do things the hard way because you're used to the beauty coming out of the chaos. Now that things are calming down a little bit, you expect the chaos to come in, and it's almost like you don't expect a really firm result unless there's a ton of chaos beforehand. While you are masters at working with chaos, pile 3, well done, and you're not going to lose that. Trust me, there's enough chaos for you to get involved in throughout your life one way or another. You'll still be working with that energy. It's almost like you do not sort of trust when everything's going well because the chaos isn't there. This is a new way for you to work in the world, a new way for you to see abundance. While you are wonderful at working through the darkness, you've worked through a lot of that. Now, the way in which you will work through the darkness is within the light now. Whereas when you work through the darkness, you were in the darkness working with the darkness, right? That's, you know, darkness. You definitely know darkness. Now your balance is coming in. You're working through the darkness, showing people how to work with the darkness through the light. So there's not so much of a need for the chaos anymore. So please trust your life when everything's going well. Again, you haven't lost your magic with the chaos. You still do very well. And even if you feel like you're stressed when you're working with the chaos, there's still something beautiful that comes out of it. And it's almost like you need the chaos for the payoff. And that's not how that's working. You're doing this completely differently now. You don't need to push anything back. You're working with you've come out of the darkness with the knowledge of the darkness, now working with the darkness in the light. So enjoy that. It's going to feel a little different. So don't worry about your life if things are going a little bit smoothly. You know, don't second guess things. Don't worry when the shoe is the second shoe is gonna drop or the other shoe is gonna drop, however you say it. You're just working differently. You've never really gotten to the point where you can trust this right now. So you're in a new plateau. But again, you've definitely not lost your knack for working with chaos magic. You'll always have that. So I'm not surprised that you have draconian sort of roots, because they would know that darkness and that power and that passion and that fire. Just make sure that you're not using that fire against yourself and burning yourself out. So we're going to find out some more information here. Let's see what other messages we have. Warrior woman, have you answered your deepest calling? Absolutely. So you do have that warrior. You're used to fighting. And if there's nothing or no one to fight, you wonder if anything's wrong. But again, the way in which you've been trained, don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? So the way in which you're working in the world is going to be slightly different. And that's absolutely wonderful. You have been a warrior in many ways. You've been trained as a warrior. Feel as though in many past lives you were actually a warrior. And the information that you brought in past lives, probably needed to be protected. You needed to be a warrior in order to bring it in. Not this in this lifetime, although you may carry some of those memories with you. So you could be really a little bit, guarded about how you articulate yourself, or if you have anything to say about the darkness, or anything that goes against society, which you don't necessarily believe in at all. Society can break and crumble for all you care, and in fact it actually is, and you will celebrate that. But going against it and actually speaking up about it, it could be a little bit of a wondering if there'll be a backlash. That's just past life stuff coming in. But you were definitely trained as a warrior in many ways. So you're used to the fire energy. You're used to fighting in some ways. So, but you're being asked to sort of shift that now, and it's important that you shift it because you don't need to fight anymore. That's what we needed to do in the 3D world, and that's the idea of chaos, of really understanding yourself, of sort of getting in there with your hands and fighting, and that battling idea it's something part of your personality that you felt like you needed to do. And again, you sort of conquered that. You've plateaued at that now. So now that you're being asked to, really tap into those small moments, with the battles, everything's big and grandiose, tap into the small moments of life, be present in every moment of life. You're being asked to really slow down and recognize the beauty now that you know the darkness intimately. And from this place, there comes this beautiful, gorgeous knowledge of fearlessness because you know the darkness, and this gorgeousness of tempered with this absolute gorgeousness of beauty. Which will provide this really unique voice and this unique point of view that the world absolutely needs right now, because we're pretty polarized. You're wrong, you're wrong. I mean, pretty much the same part of the same person, but on different sides, right? And accusing each other of all sorts of different things. But you've come in here to actually find that balance within yourself and then project that out into the world. You're working beyond polarity. But the ironic part of it, the irony here, is that you've just come out from working within the darkness. So you have to find that balance for yourself. Really, you have to find that beauty, that slowness for yourself. Now, when you really allow in that beauty, it will flood in. So there's nothing to learn. It's not like, oh, you spent 20 years with the darkness, you got to spend 20 years with it. Not at all. The darkness actually gave you the strength to be able to see the beauty and its gloriousness for what it is right now. So, but the studying and being, in that shadow work took you out of the world. And you were used to being sort of out in the world. And like Pile 2, but unlike Pile 2, because they were observers in a way and asking to step up as leadership, you put yourself in that observer role because of the work that you were doing. Now to integrate fully into the world and fully feel connected, because a lot of you don't feel connected. It's just a way of slowing down, bringing in that beauty, really pulling in those polarities that you already understand are polarities, moving beyond the polarity and really understanding and accepting who you are in every understanding of that, because you are a messenger of balance. That's why you're here, at a huge amount of power. It's absolutely gorgeous. So don't dim to fit in. It's not that you definitely have dimmed yourself to fit in a little bit, but there was a larger stake there. There was work that you needed to do. You didn't really want to integrate into the world fully until you could really figure out yourself and you could figure out life on your own terms. An old soul, you had a ton of karma to work through. You wanted to do it on your own terms. In fact, you've done everything on your own terms. There's no reason why it shouldn't change now. But now that you're integrated, you realize that you've come out of this and you're not integrated in the world the way that you want to. You don't feel the connection quite that you want to, but you will when you slow down and bring in that beauty, because the darkness has been there. You know how to work with it. You're no longer afraid of it. You can handle it really well. So once that beauty comes in, it automatically balances you. You move beyond the polarity. You show people who you are, and now you're connected, right? Let's go ahead and give you a little bit more of an understanding. Let's see if we have another star system that we can tap into for your reading. Draconian, that's really interesting, because Pile 2 had double of what they were. Orion, I believe. 2 Draconian. So yeah, you really, really, really are very powerful. Please don't be afraid of your power. It's absolutely gorgeous. You will wield it in the way that you were meant to in this lifetime. You never have to worry about that. Now, of course, we have to, my goodness, especially double Draconian here, get the Dragon Oreos Oracle card. Sorry, maybe the way chocolate sweet tooth is coming out there, Freudian slip. So everybody have chocolate after this reading. Yay! Unless you're allergic. Please don't make yourself sick. So let's see what we have here, Pile 3. Black Dragon cocoons you so that your divine potential grows. Meditate, reflect, undergo a metamorphosis. That's exactly what you've been going through. And that's a better way of putting it, actually. Reflect, undergo a metamorphosis. That's what you're doing already. You did cocoon yourself in order to do this work. So you did pull yourself out of the world on your own terms, as already stated. And that's a wonderful thing to do. Black Dragon, that's very, very powerful. And again, these are general readings, so take what resonates. But for some of you, and this could be just a very small portion of you, but for some of you who write children's books or write fiction that have dragon or dragon imagery in there, or even sort of fantastical books, but specifically for children or a middle grade. That's another way that you can bring in the beauty of who you are. You have a lot of creative talents, a lot of way that you can bring in this power and this passion to help others. I want to pull one of these too. And oops, this one's coming out, but it just dropped out. So yeah, so with the double there, I would say just really hone in on your power and trust it. You innately trust it. It's just sometimes, and also there's been a lot of power for a human body. You've been through a lot of activations. Everybody has in 2020, but you really have. I mean, you would have had ascension symptoms. Your body needed to catch up to the power that you had. So now you can really equate your power and see where it goes. Whereas before, your body wouldn't have been able to handle it. So this is a unique time for you in many ways, but nothing to be feared. We want to remind you too that everything that you've been through in every single lifetime has prepared you for this lifetime. You didn't come in with this immense power without having a certain amount of karma that you knew how to deal with. If you couldn't wielded your power correctly, you wouldn't have been given it. This is something that you've accumulated over lifetimes. This is not brand new. So you know yourself, you know your soul. Soul time, the frequency of soul time asks you to allow the possibility of a new reality to emerge, one that embraces the concept that while the corporeal body is mortal, the soul is timeless, limitless, and infinite. So that's what you are here to do too, again, beyond polarity, bringing in the light and the dark, seeing the beauty in the smaller, beautiful elements of who we are, and in the peace, and bringing peace back to your life. You've been in the chaos for so long, you've worked in the chaos. It's almost like you don't trust the peace that we've already said, but you can. This is your soul time to understand that you belong to the cosmos. You belong to, your era, your star system, and beyond that. You have very, very powerful ascended masters that you work with too. You have a lot of power that you can wield in an extraordinary way. Wisdom, see your adversaries as opportunities to expand your spiritual light. Absolutely everything and everyone that's sort of worked against you in some ways, you can see it as a way to understand who you are and understand the basis of power. That's where a lot of evil comes from, the ego, the basis of power, of ignorance. In your shadow work, you've really gone to the heights of that. You've really gone in deep and understood that within yourself and within the world. So this is something that you can really speak to. You really can. And people will listen for absolute sure. So let's do one more for the Starseeds Oracle here. Intuition. Trust your intuition. It has been guiding you to the answers that you seek. And again, your intuition and your guides will never let you go stray too far. Even when you've gone off and you've done things on your own terms, even when you've gone off and kind of gone rogue a little bit, and gone in for the experience, and I'm going to do this, I know it won't really work out, but I want to see where it goes. You're adventurous in that way, and that's wonderful. Your intuition still warned you, and before it got really bad, it pulled you back. Because you're here for a reason. You're no longer putting yourself in those situations where you're learning for the experience now. There's no time. It's time for you to step up. There was time before because you were going through your karma. You were figuring things out. But you're in a different timeline now. You're here to find those small times, those small moments, and find that peace within the chaos and teach that to others. It's a very, very powerful time for you, Pile 3. So I hope this resonated with you, Pile 3. If it did, do feel free to give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments. I truly love hearing from you guys. And if you've not subscribed and hit that bell button, go ahead and do that, because we would love to have you here at Unicorn Light Tarot. And that way you will always be here and notified when a beautiful new I was going to say activism. That's another Freudian slip, because who wouldn't want to be an activist right now? A new activation and a healing, and of course, a beautiful session comes up. You will be the first one to know, and you will be able to get in there straight away and get your healing. And of course, do not forget that we have the Unicorn School of Light. The link is down below if you're looking for more support and beauty. We have 3 courses. One of them is free and the other 2 are extremely cheap. We keep everything cheap in the school because we want you to be able to get the information without having to spend too much money. So if you need more support and beauty and abundance, click on one of those. Go into the school and click on one of those courses and come join us. All right, my darlings, go wield your power and go have some fun in the beauty and the sunshine and nothing. I love chaos magic, but in the small moments, you're owed this piece. All right, until we meet again, sending love and light. Stay safe, happy, and sane, Pile 3. Bye-bye.